Welcome to the B191 video lecture on cellular respiration. And let's acknowledge Jen Crossman, who has done an awful lot of hard work to make the slides for this and other video lectures for Biology 191. We're going to talk about cellular respiration and how this process works in the body. But before we can do that, let's discuss another process in the body, that being metabolism. The textbook definition of metabolism is the sum of all chemical processes occurring in the body. In simpler terms, metabolism is the work that your body does at the cellular level. It is the muscles that contract to move your fingers, it's the blood pumping through your veins, or your body digesting food and absorbing nutrients. Think of your body as a machine. Metabolism is the work that your machine does. Well, work requires energy. And cellular respiration is the process in which your body harvests energy to do work. Like all the topics in these video lectures, we have to cover some vocabulary before we can have a conversation. Here are some terms for the week. Let's start with oxidation. Oxidation is when an atom or a molecule gives up an electron, and in so doing it gives up some energy. The term comes from the fact that oxygen is the most common receptor of electrons that are given up. If some atom or molecule is giving up electrons, some other atom or molecule has to be picking those electrons up. Most often in cellular respiration it's oxygen. Reduction is the gain of an electron by an atom or molecule. When an atom gains an electron, it also gains energy. When organic molecules are oxidized and electrons are transferred in a series of steps from one molecule to another, this is basically cellular respiration. Energy is released from chemical bonds. This energy is later used to do the work. Cellular respiration, if your body is a machine, cellular respiration is the process of putting gas into the machine. ATP is the gas in your body's machine. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. It's a nucleotide molecule. And cells store and release energy in ATP during cellular respiration. That's where your body gets the energy to do the work. So, where does the ATP come from, and how does your body manufacture ATP? Cellular respiration is the process, and we'll talk about three types of cellular respiration, starting with aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, as the name implies, is a chemical process in which oxygen accepts electrons. Glucose is broken down into water and carbon dioxide, and 36 to 38 ATP are produced. Anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. Some soil bacteria will actually die in the presence of oxygen, and some other molecule than oxygen has to be able to accept the electrons during cellular respiration. In the case of the bacteria Pseudomonas and Bacillus, nitrates and sulfites accept the electrons. The products of this reaction are nitrogen gas, hydrogen sulfide, and 2-ATP. There are two types of fermentation in which an organic molecule, some molecule with carbon in it, accepts electrons. If you, a mammal, are running really hard, your leg muscles can run out of oxygen while energy is still needed. That is, your body is producing ATP faster than it can get oxygen into those muscle cells. In the absence of oxygen, fermentation takes place. Lactic acid is created, and that's why you experience muscle soreness. In yeast is a really small microscopic organism in which glucose breaks down into ethanol and carbon dioxide. These are the products that make alcohol or make bread rise. For the purposes of lab, we need to consider how the rate of cellular respiration differs among organisms. let's look at warm-blooded and cold-blooded vertebrates first. Endotherms are vertebrates like mammals and birds that can maintain a constant body temperature, and ectotherms are organisms like cold-blooded organisms like frogs and snakes that cannot regulate their body temperature. Well, it takes a lot of cellular work to maintain a constant body temperature, especially when the outside environment is changing, and the metabolic rate or the rate of cellular respiration, these are both higher in endotherms than in ectotherms. However, ambient temperatures can affect the metabolic rate of these animals differently. In cold temperatures, endotherms have to work harder to maintain that constant body temperature, and cellular respiration rate is going to go up. In warmer temperatures, endotherms don't have to work as hard, and the rate of cellular respiration is going to be lower than in cold temperatures. In ectotherms, the opposite expectation is true. In cold temperatures, if it's too cold, the body will shut down and respiration rate drops. In warm temperatures, the animals become active and the respiration rate picks up again. Body size and mass are another important consideration. Think of the differences between a mouse and an elephant. An elephant has a lot more cells than a mouse. If we compare the rate of cellular respiration of the whole organism, the elephant is going to use a lot more energy than the mouse is. There are going to be more reactants going into the elephant and more products coming out. Yeah, think about that. However, if we look at the metabolic rate of 1 gram of mouse compared to 1 gram of elephant, we get a completely different picture. Let's look at it this way for simplification. The elephant has a greater volume than the mouse. If we take both animals and turn them into statues, you can put more grains of sand into the elephant statue than the mouse. The elephant also has a greater surface area. If you're going to paint the two statues, you are going to need more paint for the elephant statue than the mouse. But here's the big difference. Per unit of surface area, the mouse has more volume than the elephant. Let me say that again. Per unit of surface area, the mouse has more volume than the elephant. Because of this fact, it takes more energy to run 1 gram of mouse than it does to run 1 gram of elephant. That's the expectation anyways. Here's a table for review that compares 3 types of cellular respiration, products, reactants, and the amount of ATP that is produced from the different types of cellular respiration. Let's hope that that helps. You can print that out and take some notes. Now, on behalf of the animals, let's talk about animal handling procedures in lab this week. There are going to be live animals in lab. This makes it often the most popular lab of the semester. There will be frogs, mice, and rats. And you need to wear gloves to handle all of these animals. There are surgical latex and non-latex gloves on the back wall for handling the frogs. Amphibians, like frogs, absorb lots of things through their skin. And if a frog is handled too many times during the week by people, it can cause the frog some harm. It can be absorbing whatever chemicals are on your hands. You want to wear gloves, garden-type gloves for handling the mice, and definitely the rats. The mice are small. You can pick them up at the base of the tail, carry them on the palm of your hand, cradle them in your hand if you can get your hand around the mouse gently, but do not lift rats by their tails. Rats are just bigger than mice are. You don't pick up your dog by its tail. Don't pick up the rat by its tail either. Thank you very much.